Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Sanderlanche podcast. Today, we are discussing 2 chapters of The Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson, chapter 67 and 68. And as I'm looking at the title of chapter 67, Words, I almost said Words of Radiance instead of The Way of Kings, but that's just some fun. So,
good save.
Yeah, right. In these chapters, there's a lot of fighting, and Kaladin does some magical stuff. He's a little bit magic, a little bit
like
rock
friendship.
and roll. Yeah, exactly. Friendship is magic. Anyway, I'm Data, and with me today is.
It's Joe. I'm Joe. I'm here.
I'm Dak. I'm also here.
But no Jamie this time around. She's working on a super important cake. I'm jealous. I want cake now that we discussed the cake just before we started recording.
Yeah, I'm gonna eat some tonight. It's gonna be great.
Yeah, jealous. Okay. Now I'm gonna have to go out and find cake somewhere. It's all your fault. Like, I need cake. We got a birthday party coming up soon, and for the twins, and so we always get 2 cakes for them. So they each feel like they're having their own birthday, and
that makes sense.
So there's gonna be a lot of cake around in a couple weeks. So yeah, sorry, 3 of us today, and we're gonna do these 2 chapters. So hang on to something, everybody. The Sanderlanche is about to begin. So yeah, just 3 of us today, and only 2 chapters, despite the fact that we've run into the Sanderlanche. Things are moving fast. These are 2 beefier chapters. What did you guys think of these 2?
Yeah. Well, hey, look, man, stuff's happening. That's always good when we're reading a book. Right. When stuff happens. Very exciting chapters. I feel like it went pretty much the way we thought it was going to go. So it's nice to feel like I finally have a handle on what's going to happen, at least for the next chapter or so. Still don't know how the book's going to end. But hey, we figured out that stuff was going to happen, so that's good. Yeah, super cool to see all the different perspectives of this battle, the kind of like back and forth that Kaladin goes through before he decides to go back. It felt like it was believable and earned, and not just like, even though I've been talking about how much I hate Light Eyes, let's go save this guy. Like it felt like they got there in an appropriate amount of thinking and time. And it was cool to see that, like, it wasn't just him. Like, the other guys were like, yeah, we shouldn't let this guy, like, die out here. This is messed up. Because, they had the chance to escape, and they didn't take it. They decided to help them. Sad, of course, I'm sure lots of unnamed people died on Dalinar's side, obviously. But sad that we lost some of our known guys on Kaladin's side. A little disappointing. Understandable, given the situation they were in. If you're going to have somebody die, it's probably going to be in a battle where they're like literally fighting the enemy. Makes sense. But yeah, I'm excited for the conclusion of the book. We'll be getting there pretty soon, I guess. And this is definitely a way to get us pumped up for whatever's going to happen at the end. Hopefully this was not the climax of the book. I would think maybe that's still coming, but who knows. But yeah, good stuff. I really enjoyed these.
You guys definitely managed to call pretty well, the immediate future after that last couple chapters. So
yeah, I think just like story wise, it all made sense for it to happen that way up to this point. We said several times, like, it doesn't make sense for the story for them to escape right now. It makes more sense that like somehow these 2 people collide and like join forces, and that's pretty much exactly what happened. So
yeah, and I also agree with you that it's they were within an inch of escaping, and then we lose a few of them. Although Kaladin deals with it much better than he has in the past. That's feels like some character development right there. Poor earless Jax. We hardly knew ye.
Yeah, just echo pretty much what Joe said. Like we called a lot of this, but it feels earned. It was nice that it was the whole troop who said, let's go back. Rather than just Kaladin forcing him to, which I think that was something I didn't quite expect. I thought there'd be not like outright have to force everyone to do it, but I thought there'd be a couple of naysayers, and it seemed like no one was opposed to it. They were all just like, yeah, we better. So that was cool. The most tantalizing bit for me in these chapters is when Dalinar is fighting the Parshendi Shardbearer, and the guy's like, "It's you! I found you!" And then we just completely skip past that. I'm like, wait, no. Can we go back to this, please? I need to know more.
Well, he was kind of brain damaged, so, you know.
Oh, yeah. But still, I wasn't.
True, yeah. Not that we know, anyway.
Yeah, well, let's not ponder that too deeply. But yeah, no, like, all really fascinating stuff. I like action was great. Seeing Kaladin take control of his glowy powers and everyone just like seeing it happen. It's like what the fuck? Like, all right, this is gonna be a big thing. This might be a big political move. Like, yeah, I've got this bridge leader who should be more because of what he can do. We'll see how all that pans out. I'm excited to see where this goes. I think, yeah, we have spent so long. We have spent months and months and months just going, man, when are these two actually going to meet up? And I did worry that when they did meet up, it might be a bit underwhelming. But no, this was a really good way for it to happen. So that was cool.
Yeah, I think underwhelming is not something that I could call that. So that's fair, yeah. We have, as you say, we've been looking forward the whole book, more or less, to looking toward the moment when they might finally meet. And here we go. And it's nice that you guys you had the opportunity to be able to see it coming last time. But like I said a second ago, all three of you guys basically called it, and
it was telegraphed pretty heavy, I think.
Yeah, no. Although honestly, I was surprised that, especially you, I think you were right on point with like, they'll find some way to separate from Sadeas's army, and this will be like their opportunity to escape, and then they'll go back. Like, you called almost all the beats when you did your prediction of it, and so I was impressed.
Yay! I still have trouble remembering what I've predicted in previous weeks, because we've been predicting pretty much every week for several years now, and it's like, what did I predict again?
Yep, you don't remember.
It's always hard to remember.
Yep.
That's the best part, when we get like, a year on and it's like, hey, you made this prediction like a year ago and here it came true. And you're like, I don't remember that, but go me.
Good job, me.
Self high five.
Or sometimes you spend the entire book going, I bet that dog is secretly the spy, and then it turns out that it was right. So
yeah, that was a long game of cat and mouse between me and Tenson.
I saw a post on Reddit today where someone's like, I see you, Brandon Sanderson. I didn't even realize it, but in that book, before, like, when she first has the conjure, or tells the conjure to take over the dog's body, before the conjure's been replaced, Ellen is like, oh man, that's great. No one would suspect that the dog is a spy. And
nice.
It's you got us. You got us, Brandon.
You got us, Brandon. Way to go, buddy.
Okay, let's get into these two chapters. The first one, words, the epigraph is, let me no longer hurt, let me no longer weep. Dagonarthus, the black fisher, holds my soul and consumes it.
Yeah, so just real positive stuff.
Yeah, it's not great. Also, I don't like names that are this hard to figure out how I'm supposed to say them.
Dagonarthus.
Well, in my mind, it was for some reason it was like D-I-A, which for some reason is easier for me to pronounce in my head. But when I reread it just now, I realized, I've been saying that wrong this whole time. That's different. Okay. This one is a dark-eyed female street juggler said this. Note similarity to sample 1172-89, which we don't know the numbers for any of these. So if that one is one that we've already seen, there's no way for us to know.
It's science. Don't worry about it.
Yep. Who knows?
There was one about a black piper, I think. I remember that one, but this is the black fisher.
The black fisher. It's like he goes out on his black boat, and all he catches are sharks.
It makes me think of the game Dredge, actually. Fun little game.
I never played that. I don't know why this made me think of it, but have you guys ever seen the 1990s horror film Candyman?
No, it's on my list, but I haven't watched it.
I mean, yeah. I know Tony Todd, but no.
Right. Good old Tony Todd. So, he got bees coming out of his mouth in one of those scenes.
That's right.
As you do.
Yeah. Well, I read like a thing saying that was actually those were real bees, and he agreed to do the stunt himself if they would pay him $1,000 every time he got stung, and he got stung 27 times.
Oh, damn.
That's a brilliant piece of negotiating.
Yep.
Yeah.
If you're not allergic to it, then yeah. I'd get bee stung for $1,000.
Yeah.
Yeah. God, that's genius.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean,
painful.
I was about to say, it doesn't sound great. I've been bitten by ants, which I assume is the same kind of venom as a bee sting. So I don't think I'm allergic, but I've never been stung by a bee, so I don't know.
Yeah, neither have I. I fell on a wasp one time and got stung.
Yeah.
So I've never been stung by a bee.
I feel like that's the venom. I mean, the wasp venom, I feel like has to be the same as bee venom.
I have no idea.
Higher dose though with wasps.
Sure.
Because I
painful.
believe most species of wasps hurt more, and with a bee they sting you once and then they die. Wasps just go and go and go and go until you die.
Right.
Yeah, but also with the bees, you get like the stinger gets stuck in you with the bee.
Yeah.
And you have to that's unpleasant. So.
Mm-hmm. And it's a real problem. Those bees.
Mm.
Well, when I was in Australia, maybe it was when we were in New Zealand. One of those places, we saw a thing about the native like stingless bees, and I was like, that's nice.
That's New Zealand. Those are big fuzzy bumblebees or whatever they are.
Yeah, so I was like, oh well, see, that's a nice kind of bee. Let's have that kind of bee.
Yeah.
Okay. Without Jamie here, somehow we tangent hard constantly.
Oh, people love it. Don't worry about it.
So we come in Bridge 4 because they've got 2 wounded and 4 men who need carrying are falling behind. But Thaddeus has so many bridges that nobody has to wait on them, so it's fine because he brought every single bridge. He even has the 8 bridges he sent with Dalinar, so plenty of bridges for the army to cross.
Yeah. How do you wrangle that? Be like, hey, I know you guys were with Dalinar for this battle, but now you're with me. Come on.
I mean, they're his bridges, so I assume that he was just like told them before he sent them, like, be ready when this signal comes, you guys retreat.
Probably.
And
such a dick.
I know, right? Kaladin is feeling bad about what's happened. He's never been the biggest fan of Dalinar, but this is horrifying. And it's weighing really heavily on him, despite the fact that, he didn't do anything wrong here. And they're the last to get to this chasm after the rest of the army is already gone. And he's like, don't put the bridge down. We'll cross that last bridge and then keep going. And Matal like looks at them, but realizes, yeah, it'll just take longer if they put their bridge down. Well, it's fine. And then Matal, after everyone else is crossed, is like, come on, Bridge 4. And Kaladin's like, hey, we just got here. We need a rest. He's suddenly struck by an idea, and he starts, we need a rest. Matal's like, cross now. And Kaladin's like, look, we're just far farther behind. You want to explain to Thaddeus why his whole army is held up for one dumb bridge crew? We've got our bridge. Let us rest, and we'll catch up. And Matal's like, and what if, like, those Parshendi come and kill you? And Kaladin shrugs. And then it's like, Matal blinked, then seemed to realize how badly he wanted that to happen.
He's like, wait. Why did I just say that to him? That's what I want to happen.
It's like, man, that would solve a lot of my problems.
What if the bad guys catch up to you? Fuck do you care? You're right, I don't.
You're right, I don't care. In fact, I want that to happen.
And so, yeah, he's Matal's like, all right, fine. And he takes off. And then Kaladin's like, guys, this is it. We're free. Like, and for this reason, I'm like, Matal, you're kind of stupid that you're just like, yeah, I'll leave you men with your bridge out here on the plains. Like, we know bridgemen try to escape sometimes, and you're letting them. It seems dumb to me, but maybe in his mind, like, even if they escape, he can just pretend they died, and it'll still be better for him. So,
yeah, I mean, plus what little we've seen of him, he's never really struck us as like the most intelligent dude.
Yeah, maybe that's why he lets his wife do all the work, because she's smart and he's not. That could be it.
Yeah.
Kaladin's like, this is it. We're done. We'll just pretend to fall further and further behind, and once they're out of sight, we turn north and use the bridge to cross the plains, and we're out of here. And we have this big bag of spheres that I've been carrying that we can spend. We'll take armor and weapons from the dead people. This is perfect, actually. Except that Kaladin says he's going to have to stay behind because they've got wounded bridgemen back at camp. And Moash is the one who's like, wait, what? No. And Sigzil agrees, like, we're not leaving you without you. And he's like, whatever. We'll figure it out later. For right now, go get us some weapons and armor, and let's do this thing. And he looks back at the fight going on, because he could still see the tower and Dalinar's men being surrounded by Parshendi. And then here's Syl for the first time appearing as a full-sized woman, staring out, horrified at what's going on over there.
Oh, this was not something I expected.
No.
But that Syl could appear full-sized?
Correct.
I wonder if she can appear, like, could she just do whatever size she wants? Could she be, like, giant, 20 feet tall?
You wonder? Come on, Data.
I mean, how do you know whether we've established whether or not that can happen in the first 4 books? Maybe
I feel like that's something Brandon would like have said in like an interview at least. Like, could she become whatever size she wants? And he's like, yeah.
Oh.
Or he's like, no.
Fair.
Or much more Brandon way to answer it. Theoretically, I guess you could say, yeah.
And so Kaladin thinks for him.
Hypothetically.
Kaladin thinks for a minute, like, I mean, we could go there and put the bridge down, but no, like, there's no way they would kill us before anyone could escape. And Rock walks up and he has the same thoughts, like, isn't there something we can do? And Kaladin's like, nope, there's no way that we could do it and live. So, and even if we did, if we somehow made it work, some of those men would talk and we would never be able to escape. Like, Sadeas would find out that we're still alive. So, like, yeah, you're right. Okay. And Kaladin has to, like, convince himself. He's like, we don't owe them anything. You got them into this, Colin. I'm not going to let my men die for you. And then Syl comes up and she's like, are Windspren attracted to wind or do they make it? And he's like, I don't know. Does it matter? And she's like, perhaps not. You see, I've remembered what kind of spren I am. I bind things, Kaladin. I am honor spren, spirit of oaths, of promises, and of nobility. So there we go. Some
honor
people called it.
spren.
So is she attracted to honor or does she create honor?
Probably attracted to, I would guess.
I love the bit where she's like, I remember what kind of spren I am. And he just goes, is this really the time?
He's like, we don't have time for this shit right now, dude.
Wait. Why are we talking about this right now?
And Kaladin is flashing back to what happened in Amaram's army, where he rushes in and sacrifices his men to save a Light Eyes who did not deserve it. He's like, I'm not going to let it happen again. I've learned. I won't be a fool again. Fool me twice, won't get fooled again. And then after a long argument in his own head, where he touches back on those words, the first oath of the Knights Radiant, he's like, we have to go back. Damn it, we have to go back. Or as Jack from Lost would say, we have to go back. Jack and Kaladin.
Jack.
Yeah,
you didn't miss anything.
Jack is many people's favorite character and many people's least favorite character, and
he's polarizing.
I'm closer to the latter.
Yeah, he's not great, that Jack. Now John Locke, there's a character.
That's true. I love Locke and Mr. Echo. There's some good characters in that show.
Jamie's watched all of Lost. Naturally, this comes up on the episode where she's not here.
Right, yeah. We don't know Jamie's opinion on her favorite and least favorite Lost characters. We'll have to revisit sometime. But, like, shockingly, the rest of Bridge 4 is like, just starts nodding. Like, no, he's right. We have to. Guys, he says, people who, like, a month or two ago cared for nothing but their own skins, all of them are willing to put themselves at risk on what is essentially seems like a suicide mission to try to rescue people that they don't know.
If you honor it, they will come.
Then we cut back to Dalinar, who his armor has taken a lot of hits and things are not going great.
Mm-hmm.
But he's killed lots and lots of Parshendi. Just, it's not enough to matter in the long run. And there's an interesting note where he's like, there's stories about like shard bearers being the last one standing on the battlefield, but really the other side tries to take down the shard bearers first. Then you can take their shard blades and kill their friends with them. So it works out.
Plus, there's going to be a morale thing, like in that if the army sees the shard bearer go down, they're just going to fucking give up.
You're almost certainly right. Yeah, I agree that that would have a strong morale effect on both sides. Like, you see your side take down the shard bearer who slaughtered like 200 guys. You're like, yeah, let's do this. But he's not going to give up. Adolin's standing there fighting, also not going to give up. And then he spots it. One bridge crew coming back. And he's like, he can't believe his eyes. He's like, it can't be. Adolin. And Adolin's like, what kind of trap is that? And Dalinar's like, a foolish one if it's a trap. We're already dead.
We're already trapped.
Yeah.
Like, you're already in a trap, and somebody sets a further trap on top of the trap. This is the trappiest trap ever. Adolin is what's his name? Star Wars General Mon Calamari. What's his name?
Oof.
Akbar.
Admiral
Yeah.
Akbar, thank you. I don't know how I forgot that, but yes.
Yeah, how can you? He's a calamarian.
It's a
I
trap.
think I'll have the calamari. Well, I think I'll have the insensitive bitch with a side of fuck you.
I just had calamari yesterday, so yeah, it's good stuff.
You bastard. You heartless bastard.
And so they're gonna have to cut their way back towards like the spot where a bridge can get across the chasm, because most of the edges of this chasm are too far away from the next one over. We established they can't jump. There's only one area or a couple areas where like it's close enough for a bridge to get.
Mm-hmm.
So they got to try to cut their way down to meet this bridge. And Dalinar knows that it's basically hopeless. By the time they get there, that bridge crew will be dead. But almost hopeless is better than no hope at all. And now we turn back to Kaladin as they're approaching. He's got the armor. He's ready to try to distract the archers again. And I do like his thinking in that, unlike before where he was blaming everything else, he's like, this time, this is my choice. It's not an angry god that's responsible for what happens to me. It's not Spren playing tricks. It's not fate. I am choosing to do this, even though I know that it will probably kill me, because it's the right thing to do.
I mean, he kind of got guilted into it by a Spren, if you think about it.
Tiny bit, but I mean,
Yeah,
she
sure,
barely
like
said
prodded
anything.
him.
She was just
Yeah.
like, I'm an honor Spren. And that was most of what she said. So
Yeah. She said, I'm an honest friend. And then, in a little bit, she's like, do you remember the word? Do you remember the words? He's like, I don't know any words.
what words? And so just as they're starting to approach, a second group of Parshendi like jumps across from a different angle to shoot at them.
Because that's what we wanted.
And he has to be like out of nowhere, like side carry. And they haven't even practiced it in forever, but that's how well he's got his team trained, that they instantly side carry and block the arrows. But that doesn't help with the other arrows coming from the other direction. And that's when he does a very impressive burst of Stormlight move where he does, I forget which of the lashings it is that Seth showed us all the way back to the beginning of the book, but it's like the third one where you touch something and it gets infused with Stormlight and it attracts things that are moving towards you. And so he makes his shield an arrow magnet, and like 100 arrows hit his shield all at more or less the same time, which once again, this is really cinematic. Like this would look really cool. And everyone else saw this time, like a fountain of light, Moesh says, like the sun itself burst from you.
Damn.
And whatever it is, it took a lot out of him.
Sort of picturing like the bit from Return of the King where Gandalf rides out against the Nazgul to stop them from attacking Faramir and just like blast the light at them, and they just sends them just like, oh fuck, and they run away.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
With the light is. Sorry, I'm picturing that. It's been a long time since I've seen that, but I can still remember that moment as well.
Yeah.
It's a good moment.
Mm-hmm.
So many arrows have hit his shield that it's kind of just disintegrates around his arm, except for a few of the arrows which went all the way through and are stuck in his arm. So that's nice.
Back to Lord of the Rings. Better moment in the book because the trees eat people, but still good.
Yeah.
And the archers that were just shooting at him like stop and stare and then start yelling Neshua Kadal, which he doesn't understand, and then they run. So whatever it was, it freaked them out.
Yeah. What does Neshua Kadal mean, Data? Can you tell us?
I don't know offhand that I can tell you that.
Oh, okay.
Oh, Kadal sounds a lot like Kadaj. Does that mean Kaladin's going to turn to Sephiroth?
There you go.
Ooh, nice. Way to tie it into Final Fantasy. Wasn't even me this week, guys.
I've never played a Final Fantasy game. I've only ever seen Advent Children.
That's a good movie.
Kadal also sounds like Cabsol. So, I mean, is he going to become a jam addict? We don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think he has it in him to be a jam addict. It takes a lot to be addicted to jam.
But, like, Kaladin goes down. Like, using all this light has just drained him completely. He's exhausted. And Moesh has to take the leadership role. He's like, bridge up. We still got a job to do. And Kaladin's on the ground like, no, run. It's not going to work. And Teft says, we need spheres, Scar. And Scar's like, nah, I mean, he already asked for it. Everyone gave him all our spheres this morning. And Teft is cursing himself like, I should have listened, idiot.
Oh, I should have paid more attention in Radiant class.
And Kaladin's like, man, shouldn't have followed me. Proud of them anyway.
Proud of you.
And he's thinking back, it's happening again. I can't get to them. They're going to die. Just like all these other people. Dalit, Sen, Maps, Dunny, Tien. And here's where we go into our flashback.
Yeah, man, quite a flashback right in the mid-battle.
Yep.
Yeah. Just when we thought we were free of Kaladin's flashback. Well, I guess not just. It was a while ago, the last one.
Yeah.
For some time, we thought we were free of Kaladin's flashbacks.
This one, at least, it seems like it's appropriate. Maybe not right here, but it still seems appropriate.
Yeah.
I mean, we couldn't be completely done with Kaladin's flashbacks. We didn't know how Tien died.
Yeah, exactly. And also, we're probably going to have a flashback about this girlfriend he keeps mentioning.
I honestly didn't think we would see how Tien died. I thought that was just going to be something haunting him, but we would never actually see it directly.
Oh.
Once the other flashbacks ended, I thought, oh, it's just going to be this thing weighing on him. Maybe he'll tell the story at some point. I didn't think we would see it.
Yeah. Well, we do, as it turns out.
Yep. As it happens.
We cut to, he's been in the army only 4 months. This is 4 months after he left home. And it's not fun. He's like, why did I ever want to do this? This sucks. War, death, screaming. I don't like any of this. And not only that, but Tien, it wasn't even a whole 4 months before they took Tien out of messenger boy service, which Amaram said that he'd keep him in for a couple of years, and put him into a squad of deep reserves because recruitment was down. They need everyone who can hold a spear. But they told him that squad would probably never be used unless there was like an emergency. Does us being surrounded on a steep hilltop count as an emergency? Maybe. And apparently his squad is all dead. He's the last survivor of his group that he knows of, at least. He's like, yeah, we were in Bright Lord Tashlin's company. And the guy that he's found is like, this is the third report that we've had about that group being down. I don't care. Go off to the reserves for reassignment. He's like, yeah, okay. But he's more concerned with finding his brother because he's worried his brother might be in the fight. And so he says, hey, he finds somebody else and says, where's that squad made from messenger boys? And the guy's like, why do you want to know that? And he's like, I don't know. I just follow orders. And the guy's like, oh, yeah, okay.
Well played.
Yeah, that's the benefit of being in the army. If you tell somebody you're following your orders, they'll probably assume it's true. And he makes his way towards where he's told they are and arrives just in time to see Tien and two of the other very small like messenger boy or former messenger boys at like the front of this squad formation. And he can tell even from where he's standing that these guys barely know how to hold a spear. That is the worst place to have put them. And it turns out that was a plan. Just as the enemy is coming, the squad breaks, leaving these untrained boys to attract the enemy's attention. And that way they can come at them from the sides and take them out. But it means that he sees Tien die right in front of him. And just before it happens, he screams Tien's name, and Tien turns and looks at him and actually smiles to see his big brother before the end. Some armored light eyes. I know,
yeah,
right?
Twist that fucking knife.
Yeah. Also, way to distract your brother, dude.
That I thought the same thing. Like, oh, you distracted him at just the important moment. Good job. A light eyes in steel armor kills Tien. Which, hey, go all the way back to that first time that we see Kaladin. He sees an armored light eyes, and he's like, hey, we're fighting so-and-so's army. That might be him. Like, that's all he says was that might be him before he goes and kills the guy. And we never know what that means exactly. But probably he's talking about this. So he'll never know if he successfully killed the light eyes that killed his brother. But maybe, because that guy in that chapter, he throws a knife right into his eye, and it works out. And Kaladin quickly realizes that, like, the squad leader, Varth, had put these kids there intentionally, stopped the momentum from the enemy attack.
Yeah, I mean, fuck the one who killed Tien. Kill this guy.
And here comes Varth, who, as Kaladin goes down and is, like, kneeling beside the body of his brother, Varth comes along, and Kaladin says, you bastard, you put them in front. And the guy says, you work with what you have. If they give me men who can't fight, I'll find another use for them. Got to do what you can to stay alive, son. Turn a liability into an advantage whenever you can. Remember that. Remember that if you live. And this is not the first time we've heard that sentence, actually.
I was going to say, we've definitely heard that before, but I forget where.
So it's back when Lopin is volunteering to be in Kaladin's bridge crew. He sees the guy, and he's like, whatever bridge crew gets this one-armed guy is just going to put him right in front to take an arrow. And a voice from his past whispers, got to do what you can to stay alive. Turn a liability into an advantage.
Ugh.
And then he thinks Tien. And he goes, okay, I'll take the Herdazian at the back. So this is him thinking, like, this guy is going to get turned into another Tien. sacrifice because he can't fight. I have to protect him, and that's what makes him accept Lopen into his bridge crew.
Lopen's the best, Gancho.
Yeah.
And so I like the way that's written, because it's you don't really realize what the hell is happening at the time, and it's a plausible excuse that Kaladin gives, but now that you know the whole story, like it gives that extra meaning to that earlier scene.
Yeah, it's one of those things that hits completely different on a reread.
Yeah. And he's just like, it says that he lies there holding his brother's body while it gets cold and whispering. It's like, don't worry, I'll bring you home. I'll protect you. I'll bring you back. And it's just like the saddest thing ever. I don't know what else to say there. And as he's lying there, unable, like he's so drained, we cut back to present day. He's lying there just like so drained from whatever he did with that stormlight that he can barely move. And Syl is whispering to him. It's like, hey, do you know the words, Kaladin? And he says, all I've wanted to do was protect them. And she's like, that's why I've come. The words. And he doesn't say them right that moment, but somehow he forces himself up. He's like, no, I have to protect them. I have to protect my men. And he gets a spear, pushes himself up, and he starts to run, slowly at first, but picking up speed. And the team is setting the bridge. He runs out onto the bridge as it's still crossing the chasm. And Tef's like, what are you doing? And he jumps off of the end of the bridge onto the next platform, where a bunch of Parshendi are waiting for him. And hey, their beards happen to have glowing gemstones in them. We established earlier in the book that they wear gems in their beards. And he can use that stormlight to stay alive.
They're all terrified because they're just like, oh my god, he stole our beard power.
No,
my mighty facial hair.
My facial hair's not nearly as cool without glowing rocks.
It's like all of a sudden he just sprouts like a massive Gandalf beard, and it's like, oh god, no!
What's he gonna take next? Our songs? Super Saiyan beard, like it.
Yep.
And then these words just pop into his head. It says he was amazed to realize he knew them, though they'd never been told to him. I will protect those who cannot protect themselves. The second ideal of the Knights Radiant.
Get him, Jesus! I help those who help themselves. Whoa!
I don't even believe in Jeebus. Save me, Jeebus.
So here's we're gonna travel back in time to chapter 59 for a moment.
We need the hop sound effect.
Brum, brum.
I think about it more like a TARDIS sound effect, but you know.
I was never a Doctor Who fan.
So all the way back in chapter 59, the epigraph says, above the final void I hang, friends behind, friends before, the feast I must drink clings to their faces, and the words I must speak spark in my mind. The old oaths will be spoken anew. And while I don't know that we have a confirmation for certain of that, a lot of people relate that to what we're seeing happen just now.
Okay.
He's above a void, being, the chasm. He's got his bridge friends behind him and the Alethi army in front of him. He sucks down the stormlight from the stuff in their beards, and he speaks the words. That if that's correct, then these epigraphs are clearly prescient to some degree.
You say that one more time? I didn't catch all of it.
Oh, the whole, okay, it says, above the final void I hang, friends behind, friends before, the feast I must drink clings to their faces, and the words I must speak spark in my mind. The old oaths will be spoken anew.
Weird, man.
I do remember the feasts cling to their faces because I got quite caught up on that, as I recall.
Yep, we were like, someone was like, do they have to lick their faces, or like, how do you...
faces?
But it was beard light. The feast was beard light. Got it.
Hey man, sometimes you gotta have some beard light. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yep.
Coors beard light. And
so he speaks the words, and then we cut to, I guess, Tef's perspective. It seems like, because there's an enormous crack or clap of thunder, and Kaladin appears to explode with light and energy.
He does go Super Saiyan.
He does. Like, that's literally seems to be what, I guess not literally, that he's not a Saiyan. So, but yes, it seems very similar to that. And nobody has any idea what is happening right now. Like, there's a wave of whiteness, it says, that washes off away from him. And Moash is just like, something just changed. Something important.
Yeah, why's it got to be white?
And Kaladin starts using that spear, which we'd seen before. He was hesitant to take it back up Teft said that he was scared of it, and he basically agreed. He's like, yeah, I kind of am. But he starts slicing up some Parshendi. It says he spins like a living storm of steel, wood, and determination. That's the end of the chapter.
I like how Teft's name was not on the list of perspectives we were going to get, but here it is anyway. He even beat Navani to the punch.
Yeah. Although maybe it's not even Teft's perspective. This might just be like a third person thing, because it doesn't. I don't think we're told what anyone thinks or anything in this like 4 paragraphs.
I guess that's a good point. Yeah. There's no thoughts. It's just action.
Although not being anyone's perspective in and of itself seems like new. Like I don't know. We've had a section like that in the book so far.
I guess you could make the argument it's still Kaladin's perspective.
Oh yeah, it could be. Yeah, that's a fair point. Okay. Chapter 68 is Eshonai, and the epigraph is, they named it the final desolation, but they lied. Our gods lied. Oh, how they lied. The Everstorm comes. I hear its whispers, see its storm wall, know its heart. And this is from an Azish itinerant worker, sample of particular note, for whatever reason. And so we cut to Adolin, who is trying to cut his way down to those bridgemen. He can't see what has just been going on down there because there's an army in between him and them. But he's trying to cut a path for the army through all the Parshendi. And it says he's actually moving forward at almost a jog. The incline of the hill worked in their favor. So he's like cutting down Parshendi so fast that he's almost just jogging through the death. And now we cut to Teft's perspective because it says Teft thought. So there you go. Your statement is still valid. We got a Teft perspective before a Navani one. Well, and really, there's only one chapter left in part 4 after this. So there's not much time left for Navani to have her perspective.
Oh, that'll be hers. Easy money.
If it's only one, I mean.
Oh yeah, it's true. It could shift perspectives, but she'll be in it. Her perspective will be in it. What
if her perspective gets less time than Teft's? So she gets one paragraph, but she got her name in there.
Yeah. Dalinar dies, and then the perspective is just Navani wept.
And so Teft is watching Kaladin, and he's like, look, I've seen a lot of fights. I've seen a lot of battlefields. I've never seen anything remotely like this. White stormlight is streaming off of Kaladin like a blazing fire, it says. And he's just like, his ability with the spear is unlike anything Teft has seen. And he can tell, like, this isn't just Stormlight. Stormlight doesn't give you skill. This is a master enhanced with Stormlight to astonishing levels.
Spearmaster!
Legends are true. He is the legendary Super Spear.
He's a Super Alethi. What do you know?
That doesn't start with an S, though.
Yeah.
No, yeah,
fair.
Super Spear's better.
If we were on schedule, we could have gone with Super Scar, but nah, doesn't work here.
Super Spearman. You need
worst
the two.
Fear, Sidaeus, the legendary Super Spear. It should have been me.
And like all of the bridgemen are just staring at him like and talking. Like, oh my gosh, have you ever seen anything like this? And
guys, have you not noticed the fucking battle?
Yeah.
Protect yourselves.
Teft is like, he needs our help, and he takes command. He's like, he splits them up into teams. Rock and Lopin, you guys pull any wounded back. And like as Teft is watching, Kaladin's spear, like he hits some Parshendi so hard that his spear breaks. And so then Teft's like, Lopin, toss him a spear that isn't broken.
Yeah.
And then we cut back to Dalinar, who is also part of this group that's trying to cut down to the bridgemen. And he's like, I mean, they're doomed. Those bridgemen are definitely dead by now. But I mean, at least their sacrifice meant that we didn't die with no hope.
Hey, don't count your dead bridgemen before they die.
And yeah, he cuts into an open area and he realizes there's other Parshendi, but they're not looking at me. What are they even? Oh my God, the bridgemen, they're fighting. It was the most amazing, most glorious thing Dalinar had ever seen.
Yeah, they're fighting. Damn, they look good.
Adolin lets out a whoop, and Adolin has lost his helm completely. Like, it has been destroyed. But
Jesus,
he's excited.
Can they rebuild that with like that's shard plate? Can it?
Yeah, it's just going to cost $6 million, but it's fine. They have the technology.
This is a fair question. Yeah. Who knows, right? Have we heard anything about? I mean, we know that they can, like, when it gets cracked, it can fix, but that's different from like replacing a completely destroyed. Although I guess
Sidaeus had like a big hole in his, and they fixed that.
Well, and I guess now that I think about it, we know that when they have those duels, they often proceed to like until one of the plates gets broken or whatever. So if they can regrow that, maybe the helm's not that different.
They got some kind of fabrial work going on here where they can fix it.
I don't know. Like I imagine patching a hole is probably easier than rebuilding something from scratch. Like there's like the helmet's not broken, it's gone.
Yeah, that's
I
fair.
don't know. Though there's got to be some kind of core in this thing that like if they put more stones in it, it like fixes itself or something.
Just sort of regenerates.
Maybe.
Yeah, that would be my guess, just based on what they've said about the shard plate.
Well, and we know shard plate uses gemstones with stormlight in them, so that stormlight's doing something.
Yeah.
So like Adelin's just gonna look at his troops and goes, guys, you know what to do. Bring me the beards.
Cut off all their beards.
It's like Inglourious Bastards, where he wants scalps.
Oh God.
Adolin wants beards.
Yep. Bring me the beards.
So he wants some. He wants chin scalps, is what you're saying.
Yeah, exactly. So they've broken through the line and they're just staring at the bridgemen fighting. And Dalinar's like, no, go support them. If they fall, we're all dead. And just as things are looking up, the enemy troops part and a 7-foot-tall Parshendi in gleaming silver shard plate shows up.
Big crap, man.
Yep. And he raises his sword to Dalinar in salute. And Dalinar's like, now you come. It's not just he's surprised. He says he bellows incredulously. Why wait out the entire battle only to attack now? I mean, I feel like it should be obvious. Like, you're weakened now.
Yeah, he could kill you.
And what he concludes is that the shard bearer was letting the normal Parshendi have their chance to win shards, kind of like the Alethi do in some situations. But now that the plate and blade might escape, well, you can't have that. That's too important. If that was the case, it seems kind of callous to let like hundreds of people be slaughtered. Be like, yeah, we'll give them a chance to win their own shards. Why not?
Their culture's different.
That's true. We don't know their cultures, so. And the shard bearer starts talking in the Parshendi language. Now it's like, well, I have no idea what the hell he's saying, but I guess we got to fight. And the other Parshendi kind of like give them space to go at it, which is maybe an honorable thing, or maybe they just don't want to get caught up in a fight between two shard bearers, because that's not going to end well for most people. And Dalinar knows that his armor is real messed up, so even one like hit could be bad for him. The Parshendi, on the other hand, has fully intact armor. He can risk taking hits if it gets him in close for a potential killing blow. And Dalinar has to block a blow with his forearm, and he completely loses the forearm part of his armor breaks, and he's forced to like drop the gauntlet because without the support of the rest of the armor, it's too heavy for him to do anything with. So now he's got like one armored hand and one open into the air hand. And his leg something's wrong there. It's dragging. He's not in good shape, basically.
He's having a bad day.
He is having a very bad day.
Dalinar and the terrible, no good, very bad day.
Yeah. And we cut back to Kaladin, who, it says for the first time in many, many months, he feels fully awake and alive. And he's cutting people like Parshendi down right and left. And not only that, but they're pretty clever. Once they notice what he's doing, that he's taking the stormlight from the gems in their beards, they start taking them out before they come at him. So they were taken by surprise by what happened, but they don't let it really faze them that much.
Yeah, we actually don't need this, guys.
But he's also impressed by the way that they seem to shy away from fighting like the injured members of his team, and they focus on like the more skilled members. And he thinks that like this is more honorable than anything that I've seen in the Alethi war camps, which is kind of sad.
But not at all surprising.
Well, not really, because most of the Alethi are assholes. We know this.
Yep.
It's a weird realization to realize how much he respects them as he's killing them, but that doesn't stop him from continuing because he's determined that he's going to save Dalinar Kholin's army. And then here comes blue soldiers breaking through the line, and finally he can stop fighting, and he's relieved and kind of disappointed. But he goes back to get a report about what's going on with his men, and they've lost 3 people: Malop, Earless Jax, and Narm. And Kaladin is not happy about it, but he tells himself, be glad the rest are alive, and he moves on.
I don't remember Malop at all. Which one was Malop?
Yeah, I don't remember. Well, let's see if we've...
The one who was mentioned one time and never mentioned again, probably.
He was mentioned a couple times. Let's see. Malop is the guy who was described as. So here's the description. Malop was a thick-haired fellow with a bushy black beard and a glyph-ward tattoo on each hand. He also wasn't the brightest sphere in the goblet, so to speak.
Oh, that was that guy. Okay.
Yeah, and he's the one when Sigzil talks about Yezrian, Malop's like, Yezrian, who's that? And he's like, oh, you call him the Stormfather here, or Yezereza Ilin? And Malop's just like, oh, okay. So that's that guy. I feel like Earless Jax is the one we'd heard referenced most, but maybe that's just because his name sticks out to me.
We've talked about him quite a bit.
Yeah.
Like, I remember Nam has been mentioned a couple of times as well, but he didn't really have much of a personality that we saw.
Yeah, I think you're right. Now we'll never know more about the history of Earless Jax or Narm or Malop. Why did he have those tattoos on his hands? Who knows?
Presumably Eared Jax is still around.
Yeah, right? He's got to be here somewhere.
Yeah, that dude's got ears.
Or one-eared Jack.
You
know.
Well, maybe just like three-eared Jacks.
He stole the 2 ears from Earless Jackson. And so he leaves Teft in command of the rear guard, basically. He's like, hey, Moash, you strong enough to stay with me? And Moash is like, oh, yeah, I am.
If I close my eyes, I can pretend the Parshendi are light eyes.
Maybe. And Kaladin goes up and he finds an officer. And he's like, who's in command here? And the guy's like, Dalinar? It's like, no. Immediate command. Who is your captain? And the guy's like, yeah, he's dead. And my company lord. And his second. And this was just a regular soldier, I guess, not an officer. Because Kaladin's like, fine, go across the bridge. I need an officer. Who's in command of the retreat? And somebody's like, hey, I found Bright Lord Havar. He's commander of the rear guard. And Kaladin's like, oh, good. And he goes over, and here's a bearded man lying on the ground coughing up blood with an enormous gut wound. And Kaladin's like, fuck. Who's his second? Dead.
Why is everybody so incompetent except for me?
Finally,
It really does seem that way. Like, the guy's just like, oh, I found the commander. Oh, good, he's dying. What the fuck, dude? He's like,
why'd you even bother me with this?
Man, what are we doing here, guys?
You told me to find him. I found him. Oh, my fuck.
We're just walking around here bumping into each other? What's happening?
They got the possum hunters working for you. They're just,
Well, if they had the possum hunters working for them, the battle would already be won.
Yeah.
Our Parshendi equivalent to possums.
Oh, you know it.
Crab possums.
Crab possums.
Just get a broom out and go to town, my friends.
And so,
they'll say whatever they said or before Vidal, but about the broom.
Finally, Kaladin's just like, you. Who are you? And this young guy's like, gives him his name, and Kaladin's like, fine, you're promoted. Get everyone across as quickly as possible. If anyone asks, you've been given a field commission as commander of the rear guard.
It's like, can you do that? Get out of here.
Yeah, and the guy's just like, Kaladin is a Dark Eyes. This guy's just like, who are you? Can you do that? And Kaladin's like, well, somebody needs to. Get to work.
Get out of here, I said.
It's just somebody takes charge, finally. And I just love that somebody taking charge, instantly somebody else like, are you allowed to do that? Just do it, my man.
Just do a thing.
And so, and it says, remarkably, the Light Eyes saluted him and starts taking command. And so the whole army starts flowing across the bridge like sand in an hourglass. These are the days of our lives.
These are the days of our lives.
And so Kaladin starts moving through, trying to get everyone across. Moash keeping up with him. And he finds a guy with a steel breastplate. And his uniform is a darker shade of blue than the others because he's a member of the Cobalt Guard. He's got a Cobalt uniform, presumably.
It was the Cobalt one in Red versus Blue. Was that Church?
I think so.
Red versus Blue.
The Google is not very helpful. Oh, apparently they've got Cobalt Blue PS5 controllers. I did not know that.
How about that?
How about it?
Anyway. No, maybe it was... Okay, Caboose was just regular blue?
Caboose was regular blue.
And Tucker is teal.
I think it was like cyan. I don't know how to pronounce that color, but yeah.
So that basically leaves Church because Tex was black. So
yep.
Okay. Anyway, now that we've established that, if anyone out there never watched Red versus Blue, then you have no idea what we're talking about. It was a machinima series from the early 2000s. Although I guess it continued for 20 years or something. So
yeah, because it's about to have its final season now.
Yeah.
But I mean, it has a heavy influence because that's how we met.
It's true. I guess it kind of has to be the final season. The company is going under.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if that was
It's not
decided
how-
before or after the company was going under.
That's fair, yeah.
Oh yeah, I don't know. I don't know. That's how Dak met Data. That's not how I met him.
How you met Dak
Sure.
or Data?
Data.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I met Data at my house
At the hospital.
when I was
when you were
when I
born.
was born.
Kaladin finds this Cobalt Guard guy, and he's like, and the guy's like, "You command the bridgemen?" And he's like, "Yeah. Why aren't you guys going across the bridge?" He's like, "Well, our job is to protect Adolin," and he indicates the Shard Bearer fighting over there. And he's like, "We can't leave until he leaves." And he's like, "Well, you have to pull back. Most of the army is across. If you stay here, you're going to be surrounded." And the guy's like, "I'm sorry, we can't leave, right, Lord Adolin?" And Kaladin's like, "Fine." And he goes over and he's going to talk to Adolin. And Adolin is engaged in battle, so Kaladin has to try to get in there without, getting sliced up.
Yeah,
And so
he's definitely not going to get engaged to a girl anytime soon.
Maybe, you never know. It could happen.
I guess.
Him and this what's her name? The girl that we suspect of being a spy. They seem to be going pretty well.
Yeah. Words of Radiance is actually all about his wedding preparations.
Could be.
Oh no.
Yeah.
He's-
And the
he's-
words
oh.
of Radiance are their vows. We already know that's not true. I just think it's funny.
It's even worse. It's actually like a joint wedding. It's like at the same time Adolin's getting married to this girl, Dalinar and Navania.
Oh, there you go. Father-son wedding.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's not awkward at all.
Yeah.
They just
and then at the
want to save
time-
money.
And at the same time, in the war camp, Rock is getting married to Tift.
Hey.
How sweet.
That would be sweet.
And so Kaladin just has to start screaming at Adolin. And at one point, like, he has to use some Stormlight to make his voice bigger, which is something we didn't know he could do.
I don't think he
And-
knew he could do it either.
He didn't, yeah, I know. And Adolin notices him. He's like, "Who are you? I'm the man who saved your life. I need you to order the retreat. Your troops can't fight any longer." And he's like, "No, my
Yeah.
dad's still out here. I just saw him."
I'm also that guy you threw an Emerald Brome to the other day. I'm not giving that back. And I never gave you a message, so suck it.
Yep.
Suck it. And he says, "No, I won't leave my dad." And Kaladin's like, you are going to retreat. Look at your men. They can barely keep fighting. You're losing dozens a minute. You got to get them out.
But my dad.
Yeah, he's like, "I won't abandon my father." And I love Kaladin's like, "For the peace of, look,
Oh,
if you
God.
die, these men have no one to protect them. Get your men to safety. You can't go get your father. You can barely walk."
I don't know why I have to explain this to you. Aren't you like a prince?
And finally, Kaladin has to be like, "Fine, I will go get your dad. You lead the retreat. Hold the bridge." And then Adolin is not happy with being given orders by a random dark-eyed spearman, but he recognizes that Kaladin is right, and so he tells his the commander of his guard to, "You guys go with this guy. Get my dad out."
Mm-hmm. He's
And-
correct. Technically correct. The best,
The best
kind
kind.
of correct.
Best kind.
Kaladin sends Moash with Adolin to keep an eye on things, and he's going to go and get Dalinar. And so
I'm
he-
Wally.
not gonna lie, I did have moments like, oh fuck, they're gonna come back to Adolin's corpse, aren't they?
Oh, that would be a bummer.
That would have been a twist. No, I was just gone. The head's unprotected. Yes.
The head's unprotected.
And so Kaladin just takes off, like weaving his way through the Parshendi up to where Dalinar is fighting. And we cut back to Dalinar, whose horse shows up. He's like, "Wait, what are you doing here?" But it doesn't help. Dalinar is not doing well. The Parshendi kicks him, throwing him backwards, and then hits him on the helm again and again until the helm explodes. And now he's lost his helm as well. Him and Adolin are twinsies.
Now the Parshendi is like, the head's unprotected. Yes.
And he's the blows to the head, even wearing plate, have left him a little bit woozy.
Sure, as blows to the head tend to do, even when wearing a helmet.
And
Like, there's a great fight between the Hulk and Wolverine where the Hulk just like picks Wolverine up around the neck. Wolverine can't like move his body, and the Hulk just keeps punching him in the head, just like. So I hear when boxers get hit on the head, their brain bounces off the inside of their skull. I wonder what your brain is doing to that metal skull of yours.
it's always
fine.
amusing when Hulk and Wolverine fight.
Sure,
Yeah.
it's fine. He'll just heal. No biggie.
Yeah.
He's got a moment where he's like, "Where am I? What's going on? I'm shard plate. I'm wearing my shard. Okay."
All right, I was here on battlefield. Parshendi guy.
And then he
Hello?
starts to remember And he sees the guy standing above him with a sword, his shard blade, and he's like, why doesn't he just finish me off? And that's when the Parshendi shard bearer's like, it is you! I found you at last. And Dalinar just like blinks at him.
He's like, wait, what?
He's like, this guy can't be talking to me. I really hit my head hard. I must be delusional. This is so weird.
Maybe that guy's also been getting visions about uniting them, and he's like, it's this guy in my visions.
I need to talk to you. Then why are you trying to kill me? This is how we talk. Oh.
This is the thing we do, my people. We fight. That's why we like to fight. We sing a song. It's fun. What was your name again?
Then he notices something, a disturbance in the Parshendi Watchers, and he thinks,
there you say force.
Yeah.
He thinks, Sadeas, he's come to rescue me as I rescued him.
No.
Oh, Dalinar, just give up.
Keep dreaming there, buddy.
Give up on Sadeas, for the love of Christ.
He's the worst friend you ever had.
And you've had some doozies.
Yeah, you remember when you were friends with your brother and he took your wife?
Yeah.
Or your girlfriend, I mean? That wasn't fun. Do you remember that other time your girlfriend just like up and said, yeah, I'll date your brother instead. That's cool.
Yeah.
Okay. But as we know, it is not Sadeas, because Sadeas gives no shits about you. It is a young man with a strong face and a long curling black hair with a spear.
We didn't know his hair was curling, but we do now.
Yeah.
He's probably been mentioned at some point, but I don't remember.
If we knew that, I definitely forgot it.
He sounds dreamy.
Oh, look out, Adolin. Kaladin's coming to steal your girl.
Nah.
And we cut back to Kaladin, who sees that Dalinar's plate is not in good shape. But the Parshendi Shardbearer also has damage to the plate around his leg. And so Kaladin's like, I know what to do. And he shoves the spear into like that cracked portion of the plate. And the Shardbearer screams, and then he does it again.
This is fun.
And the Shardbearer crumples down, snapping the shaft of the spear, which, if you remember, having a broken spear is how he beat the last Shardbearer with the eye stabbing thing. And then the Parshendi start saying Neshua Kadal again, whispering among themselves and looking confused. And then they start chanting a song he's never heard before. And Kaladin's just like, good enough. He gets Dalinar up and over to his horse, and they start to leave.
It's like all of a sudden they just started breaking down into American Idiot. It was really confusing.
Singing American Pie. I don't know why.
Idiot.
And then we cut back to Dalinar, who's just like, his head's still swimming a little bit. He's like, what just happened? The Shardbearer fell down. Did it really talk to me? Was that guy glowing?
Nah. Couldn't be.
Okay, I just started paying attention.
Now.
What's happening?
And then he has a moment where he's like, hey, that guy has a shard plate and a shard blade. I could fulfill that promise to Renarin if I go and kill this guy. And Kaladin's like, dude, get on your horse. No, we should finish
What are you talking about?
Kaladin has no problem ordering a high prince around. He goes, on your horse.
Kaladin's like, why do I have to keep wrangling these fucking light eyes?
So true. You're supposed to be the honorable one. Well, your men won't leave without you, and my men won't leave without them. So you're going to get on your horse, and we're going to get out of here. And Dalinar's like, no, yeah, that's smart. What am I going to do if I kill the guy anyway? Am I going to drag the armor, tow the corpse all the way home out of this like army of Parshendi? No, I don't think so.
Hey, if we kill that guy, can we put his shard blade on top of your bridge and your guys carry it? No.
But as they leave, like this Parshendi Shardbearer gets up and watches them go and like gives them a salute, a gesture of respect. And Dalinar returns the gesture and they leave. And everyone is kind of in a good mood. I mean, that was horrifically bad, what just happened. But a minute ago, they all thought they were about to die, and now many of them have not died. So the Alethi troops are kind of upbeat, except for, all the injured ones and such. And Dalinar is watching the bridgeman, especially that young man, and he's impressed with what he sees. And he also notices as Kaladin starts treating the wounded, he's like, this guy can fight, and he's trained in field medicine, and he's a bridgeman? What is going on? Sadeas has been holding out on me, he decides. And then he goes up and he notices the slave brands for the first time because Kaladin apparently has hair long enough to hide them. But he goes, you're to be commended, all of you. Why did your high prince retreat only to send you back? Which I feel like Dalinar, that's a really stupid question.
Dalinar, for God's sake, we know you're hanging on to your friendship with Sadeas, but fucking hell, dude, get with it.
Yeah, if he really wanted to save you, he wouldn't have sent one bridge crew. Come
And
on, bro.
Kaladin's like, yeah, he didn't send us back. We came back on our own against his wishes. And Dalinor's like, why? And Kaladin shrugs and he's like, you allowed yourself to get trapped in there quite spectacularly. And Dalinar nods and he's like, maybe I should be annoyed at like how flippant this guy's being with me, but he's just speaking the truth. So
He just saved my life. I guess we should cut him some slack.
and Dalinar's like, yeah, but why did you come? And how did you learn to fight so well? And Kaladin's like, yeah, by accident. Well, what can I do to repay you? And he's like, I don't know. We were gonna run from Sadeas and disappear. We might still, but now he's gonna hunt us down and kill us.
Should you be telling me this? Probably not.
And Dalinor's like, well, I'll take you back to my camp and free you from Sadeas. And Kaladin's like, yeah, I don't know that that's gonna work, or at least it's not gonna keep us safe. I mean, there's gonna be a war between you now, right? And Dalinar thinks about it, and to me at least, it's very surprising that he goes, you know what? I don't think so. Like, Sadeas just caused the death of like tons of my troops, but if I start a war, it'll destroy the kingdom, so I can't do it. And Kaladin's like, okay, but if it's not a war, then if you take us to your camp, you'll be stealing his property.
Yeah.
And so the codes my men claim that you uphold would demand that you return us. And Dalinar's like, come back with me. I vow you will be safe. I promise it with every shred of honor I have.
Don't you worry about the codes. Let me worry about blank.
Yep. Finally, Kaladin's like, okay, fine. We'll come back. We've got so many wounded now that we couldn't escape really anyway. And the chapter ends with Dalinar just thinking, Sadeas has upset the balance and it could never be regained, not in the same way. So something's going to happen, but what exactly, we do not know. So that ends our section. And we're going to read 3 chapters for next time. So as we move into predicaments, I will give you the names of the chapters so that you can. And since we're also moving into part 5, I'll go ahead and bring up the part 5 like title page and read off to you guys who will get perspectives from. So you can incorporate that if you want into your predicaments.
Ooh, wowee.
Yeah.
So 3 chapters. The next chapter, the final chapter of part 4, is called Justice.
Justice.
And then the first 2
dead. Or so Jay thinks.
Yep, classic. The first 2 chapters of part 5, chapter 70 and 71, are called Sea of Glass, and then Recorded in Blood.
Okay.
Ooh.
So, yeah.
All right.
And in part 5, we will get perspectives from Shallan.
Oh, she's back.
Yep.
Thought that was coming.
Dalinar,
Okay.
Kaladin, shocker, I know.
Yeah.
Seth, and
Yeah.
Wit.
Ooh, the mighty
Wait, what?
Wit. You just call him Hoyd.
It says Wit on here. I don't know what to tell you.
We know who he is.
Getting a Hoyd perspective?
Yeah, it's what it says.
Oh
yeah,
my
but it
fucking
also
God.
said Navani, and I don't think we're getting that in Justice. Just saying.
I don't know. I think there could be Navani in Justice. I don't think she'll be dishing it out, but
Oh, she's gonna dish it out. This is the chapter where Navani becomes Batman. You don't even know.
She's like, I'm gonna get justice for my boyfriend. Sadeas,
I am the
you're
knight.
dead. I'm gonna arrest you because I'm Batman. I don't kill people.
I'm Navani.
I'm Navani.
Okay, so predicaments. What's coming up in the rest of this book, in the future, whatever.
Yeah, I just want to take a moment to say, like, now I have a whole vision of Navani in my head, like telling Dalinar, I once told you there'd be a day when Batman was no longer needed, and Dalinar's like, you can't ask me to wait for that. Sounds great. Anyway,
Navani, she's not the hero we deserve. She's the one that we need right now.
Exactly. So Navani, hey, let's go with the theory that Navani is the perspective. Dalinar's gonna return. Navani's gonna be super stoked, and she's like, "We have to get justice for you." And Dalinar's like, "No, that's not the kind of justice that we need right now. The kingdom is what's most important. Your son's reign. I can't split the kingdom over this." She's like, "That's not justice," and he's like, "We'll find a different way." And that's what that chapter will be about. Let's go with that. Sea of Glass, man. Maybe that's where Hoyd is, where Wit is. He's on the Sea of Glass, whatever that means. Or maybe Shallan is on a boat going back to Yakaved.
Yeah, okay.
And, Sea of Glass, it's like very reflective, the ocean,
I don't want to swim in a sea of glass is all I'm saying.
Yeah. Also, like, there was that one part where she was in, like, the weird realm with the orbs, and it was like a sea of glass, and maybe she's, like, thinking about that again. Or maybe she goes back there to that weird orb place, Gets all orby.
Orby.
That could be. Yeah. And then write it in blood or written in blood. Who knows? Again, that sounds like a Shallan thing, maybe, because she she like transmuted some blood or whatever you want to call it. So maybe it has something to do with that. I don't know. I'm guessing what I'm betting on is that the beginning of part 5 is Shallan heavy, since we haven't been with Shallan in a while. But I don't know that for sure. That's just my guess. As for what the rest of the book's gonna be, dude, from here, I don't know. All I knew was Kaladin and Dalinar were gonna team up essentially. That essentially seems like what's happened now. So where does this end? Where does this like newfound partnership take us to the end of the book? Did we just experience the climax of the book? I don't know. I don't feel like it was, but I also don't know. So since it's a whole nother part, I would imagine there's some kind of climax to that part left, if nothing else. So I'm just waiting to find out what happens. I feel like I've predicted all the stuff I was easily able to kind of think through. I don't know really where else we're going here. So
Okay. No, I mean, yeah. So if the idea that the beginning is Shallan heavy makes sense, because like you said, we haven't seen Shallan in a while, right? And we're wrapping up the book, so we need to wrap up with her. And you had the theory like maybe she's on the ocean, right? So she's sailing home or whatever. Is that the wrap up for her? If that's the case, is that
I don't
is she
think
going
so,
home
'cause
now and then we
obviously
don't see her again?
I don't think so, because obviously some stuff's gone down in Yakoved.
True. Yeah.
And so, almost my guess would be either somehow Yasna makes contact with her and was like, hey, I know I was mad because you did this awful thing, but like you shouldn't go back to Yakoved because stuff's crazy there. Or word gets to them on the boat that Yakoved's not safe, so they don't take her there. Like they're like, yeah, we're not going to take you there. You can come with us if you want. And then we get Shallan, the pirate queen.
Shallan the Pirate Queen. Okay, I'd be down for that. Would Brandon ever write a Pirate Queen book? I would read that one.
Does it not already exist? Are
Does
you
it not?
confirming Shallan does not become the pirate queen? Way to go.
I neither confirm nor deny that there could be a Pirate Queen and that Shallan could be one.
You could be like the second coolest pirate in the Cosmere that we've seen so far.
Yeah, you'll never beat Chef Pirate, right?
Yeah,
Chef
man.
pirate.
That's a very high bar to meet.
Tall order. Get it? Because he's a chef.
He had the cool name too, the Crush Throat thing going on.
Dreok Crush Throat.
Yeah. What would Shallan's pirate name be then?
Shallan Bookworm.
Not the most intimidating. You are without a doubt the worst pirate I have ever heard of.
But you have heard of me.
There was like in the Song of Ice and Fire, like there's the Ironborn who are pretty much all pirates and Vikings sort of, and then one of their lords is a fellow named Roderick the Reader. He's always got a book in hand.
Oh, nice.
Maybe he'd tell you because he knew you wouldn't believe the truth even if he told it to you.
Is he also super intimidating and murders people when he's not reading his book?
No, but all the other Vikings, like they don't take him seriously, but at the same time they also don't not take him seriously.
Ah.
It's
So he could do stuff, but he likes to read.
Yeah, it's like they're just like, oh, all he does is fucking read, but he's also never intimidated by their bullshit either, and they're all just kind of like, yeah, I don't think I want to cross him.
It might not be worth finding out. So we will not fuck around and not find out.
Okay, so thoughts? Yeah, Justice. Like I'm staking my Navani thing like purely on the fact that Navani was on the list of characters to see, and she hasn't had a chapter yet, and there's one chapter left in this thing, so this has got to be hers. As for Justice, I feel like there's going to have to be a confrontation between Dalinar and Sadeas, and maybe we're seeing it through Navani's eyes, just for more of an impartial sort of thing. Maybe she can get all the I told you so's in on Dalinar. Although she said they do need Sadeas, so I don't know how she's going to feel about all this. And I imagine Elhokar is going to be involved in this as well, so like maybe seeing Navani's perspective of Elhokar. Like she doesn't seem to rate him too highly, so that might be interesting to see. Part 5. So we got like most of the usual suspects: Adolin, Dalinar, Kaladin, Shallan. Wait, is there an Adolin? Did you say there's an Adolin, or was it just Dalinar?
It is Shallan, Dalinar, Kaladin, Seth, and Wit.
Oh, so no Adolin. Okay.
No Adolin.
Okay, that's a bit different then. In that case, well, yeah, I think Sea of Glass. Joe briefly mentioned it. I think that's got to do with Shallan and that place she went to with all like the metal orbs, which I don't know if that was the cognitive realm, or was that just like another, like something else entirely. I don't know at this point. We don't know enough, but I think that's got to be about Shallan. Maybe she is on the boat, but she's drawing comparisons to the Sea of Water to the Sea of Glass or something. Who knows? Was it Written in Blood? Was the other one?
Recorded in Blood.
Recorded in Blood. Oh, well, let's swing for the fences. That might be Seth. We know he's coming up, and his whole thing is death and blood. Like, they call him an artist. Maybe like this is his history recorded in blood or something. I don't know. Maybe we see him meeting with the Ghost Bloods. Maybe we just see him murdering someone else on the list. Who knows at this point? I'm curious to see what Seth's been up to, because last time we saw him, he was just doing his murdering. So yeah, we'll find out.
He had some very important murdering to get on with. That's true.
Yeah.
He's still got his list that he's moving down. So
don't really know what's going to happen at this point with them, but with anyone really. But we'll just have to see.
I like your logic for all three of those, actually. It's like Navani has to have a chapter because she was on the list, so the next chapter is hers. Sea of Glass, kind of. I agree that. I mean, you both said that it kind of is reminiscent of like the place with the bead ocean or whatever it was. So that could be a Shallan thing. Yeah, I see that. And then Recorded in Blood, Seth is dealing with lots of blood, and we know that he gets a perspective. So yeah, maybe. Yeah. Those are all solid guesses. Do we think that I don't know? Going with these guesses, do we have any idea why? Like, what is the justice? What is justice that Navani is doing?
I don't know. Like, she might not be meeting it out. Like I said, Elhokar might be involved. Maybe he's the one doling it out. Maybe Navani is saying this is not justice. I don't know. It's all very confusing.
This is Sparta. Okay, yeah, that's fair. And then, if we're going back to Shallan for the start of part 5, is she returning to like you said? Is it the cognitive realm, Shadesmar? We've also heard it called, or is it something else entirely? So now that she's on the outs with Yasna, is she like, well, I'm gonna go and figure out what this thing is all about, and she ends up there, or is it are we just going to discuss it?
Who knows? Like, maybe we'll see it, maybe we won't. I've got nothing.
Okay, fair enough. I really think these next 3 chapters. I was going to say the Justice is one of my favorite chapters, and while that is true, I realize that the next 2 are also probably among my favorite chapters in the book. This next episode I'm excited to do because these are some of my top chapters. So I will be interested to hear y'all's reaction next time.
Come back next week for Data's favorite chapters.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about like very favorite because, Wandersail's a good chapter. Like, Hoyd's story time. That's always fun. But no, these are pretty good. We have one new review. I think we have a new patron. Yes, we have one new patron, one new review, and one new email that I can read. Because we got another one. We got one that says, like, save this for the end of Way of Kings. So the other one is the one I can read. So 1, 1, and 1.
1, 1, and 1.
1, 1, 1.
We'll start with the email so that Joe has time to get up his list for the review and the patron. And this one is entitled Hello from the Other Side. Hi, Data, Joe, Dak, and Jamie. I don't know if I have written your names properly or not, but I tried. He's got Dak as DAQ and Jamie as JAMIE. So not quite, but solid tries.
I don't know if I've ever seen it spelled with a Q before. That's new.
I think I've seen that a couple times, like in the Discord and stuff. But
really? Wow. There you go.
Yeah, I think so. This person goes on to say, I started my Cosmere journey in March. Currently, I'll be starting the Lost Metal episodes. And it is like a tradition for me to search Spotify for a podcast to listen to while I start a new and big series. I did the same for Realm of Elderlings. I found a lot of podcasts and give some of them their first episodes a listen, but none held my attention like your podcast did. The format in which you record your episodes is nothing new, but yours just feels right. Data, you are playing the ultimate game of 2 lies and 1 truth among your fellow Sanderlanchers. At first, I did resolve that I would read along with your episodes, like read the chapters mentioned in the episode, but I broke that resolve as soon as I could.
Everyone does. It's okay.
Yep. It's hard to stick with, man. I don't blame you.
Yeah.
I would keep up alongside your podcast for 2 to 3 episodes, but then I would get ahead and finish the book. But I would listen to all the book's episodes and enjoy the others' predicaments and your lies and truth mixed in between. I know I'm rattling, but all I want to say is I really liked listening to your podcast. P.S. I have a question for Joe. People can start their Cosmere journey by reading Era 2 also. If you had started from Era 2, would you still hate Spook then? Note, I think I can guess Joe's answer, but still ask him this.
Well, what do we really know about Spook? Only that he's the Lord of, like, the original Lord guy, and we know that
I don't
Hyde.
even hear the name Spook in Era 2.
Oh, that's true. So
Yeah.
I guess I would probably just have thought to myself, why does High Imperial sound so ridiculous? That's probably what I would have thought. I'm like, that sounds weird.
That's fair.
And yeah, because we really don't get. Because I guess did they ever even call him by his actual name? Did they say Lord Lestiborns or anything like that?
Oh, I don't even remember. Hold on now.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have to know this.
I
right
have to
now.
search
Maybe,
like 4 books for that. So,
maybe you need to know. I don't. But yeah, I mean, obviously, I think the answer could only be no, because I wouldn't have had context for who that was.
Yeah.
I would just probably again think, why does High Imperial sound weird? That's weird.
Yeah. I mean, it would be interesting to start with Era 2, because you think, the Star Wars, the original trilogy was episodes 4, 5, and 6. Then we went back and got 1, 2, and 3, and that was a different experience.
That's true.
Yeah. There'd be a lot of cameos that we kind of wouldn't understand, and then a lot of spoilers, right? Because
There'd be a lot of spoilers, yeah.
Yeah, Iron Eyes shows up, and you're like, oh man, he's Death, but wait, he's also this guy named Marsh. And then we'd go back and we'd be like, wait, Marsh is just a normal guy. Oh, he must become one of those things. Uh-oh.
Yeah.
It would be kind of amusing from that perspective, though, to hear, Death, and he talks about like Kelsier, who in that era is like a god, right? So, or to the people. And so then you hear Death referring to like God as his brother, and you're like, oh, this is like a weird mythology going on here. And then you go back to the original one, and it's like, oh no, they're just literally
they were just dudes.
Same mom.
Yep.
Got it. Okay.
Yep, they were just dudes.
And Breeze has obviously got to survive long enough, because the main character is his descendant.
Oh, true. Yeah.
Yeah, it would take no sting from that. Yeah.
Yeah, but there would be things I think would still work. Like in that first book, you see Tensoon for all of 2 seconds, and you just go, "Oh my god, it's him! It's the guy who turns into a dog."
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
That
might really spoil the spy thing from book 2, where the dog is like, what? Why is Orsor the dog?
Yeah. Well, yeah, you might just. It might either spoil it completely. You just think, isn't Tensoon's thing the dog? But then it might just go, oh, that's how he became the dog. I get it. Cool.
Now I'm trying to think of if you looked at it that same way, what about Arrow or the first, or what about episodes 1 through 3, which are spoiled by episodes 4 through 6? So it's like, Anakin's gonna survive, Obi-Wan's gonna survive.
Yeah, Yoda's gonna survive.
That Anakin's gonna have 2 kids. I guess you don't know that they're with Padme until she gets pregnant, but
yeah,
he never has any other even slightly romantic interest in those movies, so it's not a hard jump.
Yeah.
Lestiborns, the name Lestiborns is mentioned once in Bands of Mourning, I discovered. So
there you go. Well, again, yeah, I would probably just be like, what's up with this High Imperial? Other than that, I wouldn't have, we wouldn't have the why, I know why you're sad, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, because that was really the book that I was like, okay, what? Like the second book, throughout the second book, he was just like, man, nobody likes me. And then
you still hated
book,
him pretty well at that time.
That's what I'm saying. That's when his my opinion of him started to shift down. Because at first I was like, he kind of talks annoying, but he's kind of comic reliefy, so I guess he has a place in the story. And then in the second book, it's like, oh no, I'm the worst. Finn doesn't want to date me. Nobody wants to date me. And then he's like, telling girls he knows why they're sad in the third book. It's like, what's wrong with you, man?
Okay, fair enough. PS2 in the email. I also love the baby sounds. PS3. This one's for Data. What is the list/order in which we'll be covering the Cosmere, including secret projects and non-Cosmere stuff? Can you send me the list?
No.
He hasn't even sent us the list.
Yeah, I read that because this is a question that comes up frequently in emails and other places. And I have kept the list to myself for the most part, just because it adds a little extra
spice
interest for the audience. Yeah, extra spice. There you go. To be like, oh, what are they gonna do next? So I don't like handing out. At this point, I have established that we're doing the Cosmere first before any non-Cosmere stuff. Although we've speckled in a couple non-Cosmere here and there. But
short stories are an easier sell than an entire book.
Right. But there's not that much left. There was Stormlight before this year when the secret projects came out. So we have those that I don't want to spoil anything, so I'm gonna not speak too much. But
yeah, just stop.
Anyway, those will have to go in there. But other than that, we have Stormlight stuff left, and the one short story, Shadows for Silence in the Forest of Hell. So it's not hard to figure out that, Stormlight is going to take up most of the time, like, of the Cosmere that we have left. And I've actually mentioned on the show already that I'm not 100% sure where the secret projects are going to go, because I may let them, the crew, have some say in if they read some stuff between these Stormlight books. So as far as what I have set in stone at this point for the rest of the Cosmere, it's not hard to figure out, probably. That one short story, you might not know where that goes. And the secret projects, even though I don't know necessarily exactly where they're going to go, but the rest of Stormlight is pretty much a direct order. Like, unless I want to do something crazy.
We're not going to go straight from Way of Kings into, what's the fourth one? Rhythm of
War. Yeah. So it shouldn't be hard to figure out that if you really want to. That would be most of it, with just a couple of little question marks. As we're moving into assuming that we get through the whole Cosmere, which by the time we're done with these Stormlight books, more will be out. We will move into non-Cosmere after that, and that I have an order laid out for, but that could honestly change at this point. It's far enough off that I'm not that worried about trying to set it in stone. So all that to say, no, I don't send out that list, and even if I did, it might not be fully accurate at this point. So, and the email ends with, "You guys have a great podcast going. Even if I soar forward in my reading, I would still listen to all of your episodes. Thank you, Ashish, listening from India. Ashish, Ashish,
Oh.
Ashish. I don't know how you'd say that exactly. So thank you. Great email. We appreciate you listening and writing in. It'll be a while, I guess, before they hear this one, because they said they were about to start Lost Metal, and we're a little ways past that at this point.
Yeah.
But thanks. Let's move to our review. This review is from someone called Garrett Listens to Pods. 10 out of 10 is the title of the review, and it says, "I feel like this is my own little book club. I'm glad I found you years after your pod began. I entered the world of Brandon Sanderson in early 2024, so I was able to enjoy all of your commentary while I read through the Mistborn trilogy for the first time. I decided to follow along with the order you read the rest of the books, so thank you for keeping this going. I'm all caught up and just started The Way of Kings. Thanks for taking the time out of your lives to do this for new and old fans. The podcast,
Jesus
as well as..."
Early 2024, and he's already... Where do you people have the time?
I mean, that's like 4 months at this point, or 3.5. So that's not,
That's like this is the 10th book we've done. 11th? I forget. Something
Hold
like
on. Now I'm gonna answer that question.
Like,
Let me see.
That's not just listening to the podcast. That's reading the books too, isn't it?
Right. Yeah. Final Empire, Well of Ascension, Hero of Ages. Secret History is like a novella. Would you count that?
No, I wouldn't. No, I'm counting full novels at this point. So
Okay.
there's seven
Elantris.
Mistborn, Elantris, Warbreaker.
Yeah. Alloy of Law, Shadows of Self, Bands of Mourning, Lost Metal, and and Warbreaker. So yeah, 9 plus, White Sand if you count the graphic novel. So yeah 9, almost 10, because we're almost done with Way of Kings.
Novels.
So you were close.
Yeah. 10 novels, a graphic novel, and a bunch of short stories and novellas.
Yep.
Like that's a lot to read on their own, and then you add in the time as well of listening. I know you're listening to podcasts at like increased speeds and everything, but still, that's so much time.
I've got my goal set in. I'm using the Storygraph app this year. My wife and I each set a goal to read 100 books during the year. And what am I at now? I'm at 36 books so far this year.
Nice.
Wow.
So some Brandon Sanderson. I went on a whole Tom Clancy kick for a while and reread a bunch of his books.
Huh.
Couple Michael Crichton. But yeah, so it can be done. You can read lots of books. If you're a dedicated reader, you can knock a bunch out. And if you're a dedicated podcast listener, you can listen to a bunch of podcasts. I think I've also gone through a whole podcast that's been going for not as long as ours, but for a couple of years. I started listening to a Babylon 5 podcast this year and made it all the way up to current on them. But they have about 90 episodes, so like half as many as we have.
Righto.
Word.
But yeah, we are approaching. This is episode 193, so we're coming up on that 200 mark.
Ooh.
So the review finishes. This podcast, as well as Brandon's great books, have helped me fall in love with reading again.
Well, that's an awesome review. Thanks so much for
Yeah.
taking time to give us that super cool review. You are a coin shot.
Nice. Okay. And then, yes, thank you for the review. If you guys want to leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, you have to send me a picture of the Spotify one because I can't see those. But Joe will jump you into the misting crew and assign you a misting power. Also, if you want to join our Patreon, you can get a faring power. And if you do both, you're twin-born. Might even, we've had a couple people end up being compounders that way. So just coincidentally, because Joe doesn't know or doesn't remember from one episode to another what he's given anybody usually. So
yeah, that's very true.
It's all
it's
luck of the draw.
Try to vary it up, but like I try not to give the same thing out two episodes in a row. But who knows? I might have done that in the past.
We have one new Ska level backer today, and it is Ariel.
Ariel, you are a skimmer. You store physical weight.
Nice. That's a good one. So yeah, if you want to check out our Patreon, there haven't been new episodes in a couple of weeks because I have not started reading the next thing that I'm going to read, but I need to because I need to read more books this year, clearly, to meet my goal. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to get started on that. The Long Chills and Keisto one is so small, though, that I feel like my wife's going to be like, that's cheating. I read we were in the airport coming back from Nashville, and I finished the book that I was reading, and I couldn't start one of those books because I have to be here to record when I'm reading the books for the Patreon while I'm reading them. So I was like, what am I going to read? I was going through my Kindle app. I was like, ooh, The Hunting of the Snark. I haven't read that in forever. And I had to check the app. I'm like, oh, it counts as a book in the app. I was like, I'm going to read this book. It's like 20 pages or something. And she was furious. Like, that is not a book. You cannot do that. That does not count. I counted it.
If it counts in the app, then surely.
That's what I'm saying. And then today I was like, oh, look, there's graphic novels count too. Maybe I'll read some of those. She's like, don't you dare. I'm like, okay.
Oh, come on.
I was like, novel is right there in the title. Like, come on.
Yeah.
She's being a real stickler, eh?
But, it's fair. I bought her Yumi and the Nightmare Painter to read because she hasn't liked Brandon stuff as much as me. But there's certain stuff that she likes. Like, I think Warbreaker was her favorite one that she read. She read the first Mistborn trilogy and Elantris and Warbreaker, I think. And she liked Warbreaker a lot. And based on stuff that she likes, I was like, I think that you will like Yumi the Nightmare Painter. I'm going to get you that specifically so you can try that out. And I got her that like months ago, and she's never read it. So I'm like, well, fine. I will tease you with what I read. Take that.
Yeah.
Anyway. So yes, if you want to sign up for our Patreon, there's a decent amount of content on there because I've read several books the brand has published new in the past year or so. But for the last couple of weeks, there has not been new stuff. So just FYI. At the end of our chapters this time, we are 94% of the way through the book. So we got 2 episodes left, 6% of the book, and then we will be moving on to another thing, which I think next time I will probably announce what we're going to do next. So be on the lookout for that next week. But yeah, so like I said, 3 chapters for next time, moving into part 5, music by a miracle of sound, and wasing to the time of next. Colo, P.S. Fasher. Crabs ahoy!
Ghost of the